So the other night I'm on the way home from, or a couple of weeks ago, I'm on the way home from the screenwriting conference that somebody has given me a pass to very generously. And I've seen just through random synchronicity, I've seen two seminars that were just extremely poignant and on the nose for things that I'm working on and things where, like pieces of writing that I'm working on. And okay, now as a late bloomer, as a late entrant into this field professionally, because I just took 15 years on a sideline that started when I got married and doubted my ability to make an income from this. While I was sitting in these two seminars, I, in the chair, realized that I felt more myself, more my actual self. I felt more just real me. I like, it was like, oh, this is Chris. Hi. Hey, where have you been? I like you. I like being this person. I missed this guy. I felt so at home. I felt more me suddenly than I felt in years and years. And so I was walking home from this event. I took the long way home, walked and walked, and I was walking by this restaurant. I thought, I'm not quite ready to get back to the house yet. I don't want to see the people there and then talk to them and then burst this bubble of just feeling with myselfness. So I'll go to a neutral zone, go into this restaurant and get some dinner. And my funds these days are at an absolute bare minimum. I've arranged things so I just make enough for groceries, and all the rest of my time are for unraveling this making bad deals thing, so that the next projects that I start, I will not build in these not having taken care of my thing from my side in the making of the agreement. So not a lot of money to spend because I've just been doing the tiniest amounts of work just to keep myself afloat. So I really shouldn't be spending money on this restaurant, but I did. And it was great and delicious. And I sat at the bar and I had a couple of drinks, and the bartender was cool, and he was making recommendations, so we would chat about those. There were some other people down the bar laughing and having fun. Everything, and it was nice to. I like the sound of restaurants. I love the sound of all the people talking and the hubbub in the restaurant. It's such an alive feeling. So I was enjoying myself, and I felt very at home, and I'd had a great day, and I was feeling very much me. And so about halfway through, I moved from reflecting on the day and what I'd been hearing in these seminars onto a particular story that I'm working on, that I wrote with a friend at a job gig a couple of years ago, he's gone on to his next thing, which is related to the story in the script, and I haven't finished up the script yet. But I really love it, and I think people would like to watch it. So it's something that I want to have in my package of things when I first go out. I want to have a bunch of things to show people, and this is one of them, and I want to have it to send to him. So I'm feeling great. I'm sitting in this bar. I've had a couple of drinks, and I'm just delicious food. And so I'm trying to stare out the window of the bar and just let my eyes rest on something like an eaves trough or something on the buildings across the street, and just let things settle, and then think about this plot thing of what to do about a particular character. And I just want to let everything else settle, and from this me place that I found that day, think about this thing and see if any knowing of what happens for this character comes to mind. And what happened was The moment that you can picture it kind of like a snow dome when you shake, there's a little scene inside. You shake the thing up, the snow swirls, but then slowly it eventually all settles on the bottom, and then the scene is peaceful again. Well, that's what the internal feeling is like for me. It's the fear button and hooks that spark off of others' actions, and that I'm always trying to hypervigilantly caretake. That I'm hypervigilantly always trying to caretake. Swirl. That stuff needs to come to a settled, quiet level. And then, this is the way it works with creativity for me. Then the answer, the solution, the thing that is the right thing to do for that whatever I'm working on, whether it's a table or a serving platter or a story or whatever, it's not that I use my will or actively intellectually come up with the solution for that thing so that I've got a move to make. It's a stopping of everything else to a quiet place, and then whatever that thing should do just comes. It just pops up, and I know how to do it. In the same way, that work that needs doing that you don't want to do, you have to kind of propel yourself out of the seat up over the room to do the dishes or whatever your task is that you don't like. You have to kind of force yourself. There's a kind of internal will force that you have to use to make it happen. Then there are other things where you're just up out of the seat and doing them before you even know that you've started. Like, whoa, how did I get over here doing this? It just happens. In fact, you'd have to use that force will to keep yourself in the seat and not doing the thing, in order to stop yourself from walking across the field, because the impulse is so strong. Those I think of as natural things. Those I think of as real things. And the other ones come from the intellectuality of false construction. So I'm sitting at the bar and I'm trying to be quiet enough so that I can think about this plot. And every time this, so to speak, the last snowflake settles, and my attention is not on the people at the bar next to me or what the bartender's doing and is he okay with me and any other things going on. As soon as it's settled, this clench alarm will go off, and it would suggest things to me, like, and by suggest, it's not like a voice speaking sentences in my head. It suggests by giving me the actual feeling, the actual physical mood feeling of, like, the bartender is angry at me. The two people laughing and chatting at the spot next to me, their feeling about me has suddenly changed, and now they think I'm like a weird disconnected presence sitting at the bar, staring at the window, making an uncomfortableness for others, like I'm harshing their vibe somehow by disconnecting from being plugged into it. This is like superstition at its most technical. This built-in system, I realized sitting at the bar this day, as it was kicking back in, rebooting itself from this moment of this afternoon of real me. Oh my God, I've missed this guy. Where's he been? When I tried to work on it that night, it was clamping itself back closed. just like even talking about the topic makes my system, like my angst system, ramp up, as if the angst itself, as if that feeling is some kind of a physical armor built in that will somehow deflect or absorb attack, even though I'm just sitting in the yard and there are no neighbors, there's nobody around, nobody else is home in the house. I'm good. I'm clear. Nothing but an airplane affecting the microphone. So this built-in defense system, it doesn't even need an actual problem in the external behavior of people who are around me. It's wired so tightly, so fraughtly, it has such a hair trigger that just my internal state coming to a point where I've stopped worrying, the worry giving me a tinge of the feeling I would have if that person did act out on me, enough of that feeling to make me not want that feeling, to then turn my attention away from that just me space that I almost got to, back externally onto what are others doing, and then giving me this now a compulsion feeling that I must do something of interaction with that other person to either affect their mood or just to take a reading to see proof that they're okay and they're at least neutrally disposed toward me, not negative. And this system, because that early zone, that early time period that I'm talking about when I started to build this all in, because the emotional explosions toward me were not just, they're not just connected to things that I did that were actual bad things that I did wrong, like say spill something or break something, but they were unpredictable. Sometimes they were attached to nothing. Sometimes they would have been pent up frustration from the world outside of the house that had no ability to go anywhere during the day, and then at the end of the day I do one thing and that's the excuse to blow up. So you never know when it's coming, and even when it is said that it's about something that you did, even then it's not sure that that's true, which again, this leads to part of my thing of me knowing better than other people what they're feeling, because people have told me what they're feeling and having it be a lie. In other words, telling me what they're feeling is about me when it doesn't have anything to do with me. That's happened to me so many times for so long that. So you can see how, yes, it's their behavior, but internally, I'm shutting myself down. This false alarm system, it's basically a false alarm system. Okay, we have a title. It thinks it's an alarm system to protect me. But what it does is it at times when there's nothing going on of danger to me externally, even if I can be sitting alone in my room just to work on some stuff, and just me hitting this quiet, alone, not concerned, superstitiously concerned about anybody else around me, the moment the last piece of dust settles, it can go off, and it can take me another couple of hours to get back to that spot where I can concentrate clearly. And yes, I mean that's more of a hair trigger because I've turned into the wind, so to speak, and I'm now trying to deal with this stuff directly. So it goes off even more because it knows that it's in danger of being dismantled. But it's a false alarm system because in those moments where I'm by myself and I'm just working and I'm just concentrating and I'm using all the things that I've learned from like meditation and things like that to go through the steps of getting there, that can all work. And when I get to the final spot where I'm clear, that being clear, it will give me a false alarm, and I will start having the feelings that I would have if somebody was outside my door about to barge in, or the tax people have decided to flag my account and they're going to be police coming to the door, or it just it invents scenarios de facto post feeling as an excuse to give me this danger feeling, this thing. And what it's doing, ping pong paddle style, pinball paddle style, is to smack my attention, to hook my attention back out of this calm, just me place. Because it's when I was flowing energetically in that calm me place, it is by definition not about anybody else. It's just me. I'm not, and the person who I am is not the person that this parental trajectory had seen. The details of who that person was, that's not me. And the way they interact with people and try to, the way my upbringers, my parents, the way they acted was not in a way that worked for me. So the person who they see me becoming doesn't match who I really feel myself to be, and the way they're interacting with me in the moment to try to get me go there, it's not a way of interacting with people that works for me. And they thought anger and expressions of anger and yelling and sometimes spanking and sometimes, anyway, never mind the details. Anger explosions coming at me was a regular experience, and lots of times it was for reasons completely outside of myself, but certainly me flowing energy, just life energy, when I was just being a kid, my attention not on being concerned about doing things the way they liked or keeping it within the prescribed zone of this trajectory and doing things the way they like things in the house. When I was just being me, that was basically I think it must have been like some kind of a flashing, shining marquee. The kid is, for someone who sees the kid as an extension of themselves, when the kid is being their own self and doing something that has nothing to do with the parent's extension of itself, that is experienced as some kind of betrayal, some kind of terrible moral wrong. Yeah. But I would be acted out on, and those, because that part of myself was the real me. And this is why I mean, like, it's difficult when you get the different ways of using the word ego, but the real me would receive the attack, and since the attack was coming from my livelihood source, my protector, my food bringer, my doorway to explanation of the world, and they would become unhinged and unstable during these explosions. In my experience, they seemed out of control. I felt mortally in danger. This part of myself felt mortally in danger during those times, and apparently so it built in this false people-pleasing and self-protecting mechanism that even goes off when there's nobody else around, when I touch on that straight flowing place from myself. And so I don't even need anybody else around to shut me down. I'm spasmodically self-shutting down all the time. And it takes a very conscious, present, physically letting go and mentally letting go and just falling into the zone in order to get myself there. And it's very easy to pop out of it. And I've purposely put myself in a kind of pressure cooker situation where there are all kinds of distractions and family things. Not from my parents, who I've gone non-contact from, but through my brother's family. I have plenty of opportunities for flare-ups on the realm of things that look similar to things that happened to me when I was a kid. So that's an enormous challenge, and I'm going to sign off on this idea by saying that the superstition aspect of the fear is something that I specifically want to deal that's a seeing that could be a topic of its own for another video. So I'm going to leave this one here. Again, with this stuff, I've worked on this all from different angles a ton, so this isn't the first time I'm saying it. This isn't my first addressing of these topics, but I am trying to pull things together, and I haven't pre-written this out because I want the working on it to be coming across in my tone and stuff as I make these. So I know they're long right now, but I think as I continue to do it, concision will come to your aid.